Hi everyone, welcome to our first ever Draw With Me video. My name is Marieke and this is Yuki.
Hello and welcome to my first ever Draw With Me video. So before we begin, I quickly want to show you what I do before I start working on my definitive illustration. So here you can see my first sketch ID that I refined. Here are some color sketches that I made with different media. I chose a watercolor pencil sketch out of the 3 sketches and I refined it in my other sketchbook. I played a bit with the background colors to see which colors suited best. And today I decided to use paints instead of watercolor pencils. And I'll explain why. I suddenly changed my media later on. I also thought that the strawberries were way too tiny and that I had to make them a lot bigger to make the piece a bit more interesting. So yeah. So let's move on now. I taped off the corners of my paper to have a nicer border when I'm done with the illustration. Yeah, I just use regular painter's tape for this. And I always make sure to press it down enough so that the water can go underneath it. Okay, so now I'm going to start with a very light pencil sketch. I'm very sorry that it's not very clear on this video. They are just some very loose strokes to determine where the leaves and the strawberries needs to go. While I'm doing this, I wanted to explain a bit more what gouache paints are, because I know that not many people know what they are, although that they are getting very popular again. So yeah, here's what I learned from gouache. It's similar to watercolors, but it has a matte finish to it. I once heard someone explain it like if watercolor and acrylics had a baby, that baby would be gouache. So I'll explain why that is. You can use gouache in 2 ways. Number 1 is to use it with lots of water, so it behaves in a similar way as watercolors. Because it's water-based, you can re-wet it just as watercolors. And when you use a wet-in-wet technique, the paint also flows and makes its way on the paper like watercolors do. So yeah, that's really fun. So the second way you can use them is with way less water, like you would use acrylic paints. Yeah, that speaks for itself, am I right? So how I usually use it is to start with some light layers like with watercolors, and to then refine the details with a more acrylic way. So it's a really interesting media actually. I really love to use it. It's also very handy to set up and it's not as messy as acrylic or oil paints to clean. Just because it's water-based and it's re-wettable. Yeah, I really love them. Fun fact, most children paints are said to be watercolor paints, but 99% of the time they actually are gouache paints. So if you have children, look at the instructions of their paint set and see for yourself if they say something about gouache. So yeah, thought that was really funny. So what you see here is a kneaded eraser. This is super handy to have because you can use it in different ways. I actually almost never use the regular white eraser just because I think this one is so easy. You can shape the kneaded eraser in a very small tip to erase the most littlest details there are. Or you can use them like a normal eraser to erase your pencil lines very harshly. Yeah, or you can dip your eraser in onto the paper and make the pencil sketch a bit lighter. So I use this last technique every time before I start coloring in my piece. Yeah, just because I don't want my pencil lines to be visible when my piece is finished. So I make it just light enough so it won't be visible when I paint over it, but dark enough for me to still see where everything needs to be laid down. So here I go in with a watercolor pencil to make a sky blue background. And to activate it, I use water and make circular motions to spread it out over my paper. I started off with a very light layer, so you probably won't see much yet. So yeah, I'm really sorry about that. But later on in this video, you're going to see a lot more of this process. So while this is drying, I start selecting the colors that I want to use in the piece. I put them in my flower palette and yeah, we're good to go to start painting the layers. So let's take this time to answer the questions that you guys sent to me. So while talking, I already answered one of the questions. The question was, talk about the drawing itself, why you choose those specific colors, techniques, materials, etc. to work with. So the reason why I choose these colors is obvious because strawberries are red and leaves are green. But you can see that there are 2 colors of red and 2 colors of green on my palette. That's because I can mix them together on my glass palette underneath the flower palette that you see to make the specific color that I want to use if needed. I also put some white in my palette just in case I need to make some colors lighter. So someone else asked me, how do you decide what the design/theme will be and what has Yuki been up to? Well, thank you very much for asking. Yuki's being the cutest cat in the world. Everything is going pretty well with her. Some of you probably don't know, but my cat got really sick a few weeks ago. I'll talk more about it in vlog 10 if you want to hear more about it. But yeah, everything's going really well. She is such a good girl and giving her medication just takes 2 seconds or so. Yeah, she doesn't mind it at all. I'm really glad about that, and I hope it will help her for a very long time. So the way I choose my design/theme is not always the same. This time it just came to me easily. Yeah, I wanted to draw something easier for my first Draw With Me, and at the moment I'm really practicing my basics of still life again. You probably saw some sketches on my Instagram. If not, you can find them in the link to my Instagram in the description below. So I've been sketching pots and bottles as my first still life project, and after that I've been working with plants and fruits. I think the things that happen in your day-to-day life can really influence the ideas that you come up with. This one is a really simple example of it, actually. So I was practicing those still life sketches, and Michael came home with strawberries. I really love strawberries. I like to eat them a lot. And yeah, from one thing came the other, a strawberry plant. Although it's not always easy as this. Sometimes I search for drawing challenges with just one simple word, and I write down all the things or words that come to mind when I think about that specific word. For instance, the first word of my self-made drawing challenge of April was fire. So I wrote down all the words I could come up with. For instance, campfire, dragon, lighthouse, fireflies, etc. So yeah, I wrote down all those words, and I chose the one that inspired me the most at the moment, and I started to make little sketches that we call thumbnails. And yeah, then I started making sketches like you saw in the beginning of the video, just on the same way as those ones. I made a tutorial a few months ago actually about how to prepare for a drawing challenge, where I talk about all the steps I take to get to my final piece. Another way that I have is to draw about my feelings, or how I feel about things that I see throughout the world that makes me happy, or sometimes even sad, or maybe angry. So yeah, I hope that this can answer your question a bit. So here's another question. What is your favorite collection on the site? So my favorite collection on thepixel.com is definitely my monoline t-shirts To the Moon and Back and my Summer Vibes t-shirt. Yeah, I really love them and I wear them all the time. I also really enjoyed making the Father's Day aprons, and I also love my cheetah pattern that I made with Indian ink. It's available on mousepads, bookmarks, and notebooks, and I'm absolutely in love with them. Yeah. I also have a mousepad with a blue cheetah pattern on it. Yeah, I love it so much. So someone also asked me to talk a bit more about business. So I'm going to talk about what I'm up to now and what my future plans are. I've decided to make a separate video about my past and how I started my business. So that will be a topic for in a few months or so. If you guys are interested in that, maybe I can talk a bit more in depth about it in a Q&A or so. So yeah, you can definitely let me know in the comments below if you're interested in that. So I know you guys are interested in me sharing my story. Okay, let's talk business now. So I started SoPixel 9 months ago. I can't believe it's already 9 months. But yeah, and there's been so much change about what at the time I wanted SoPixel to be. So I'm very proud of what it's become and that I can focus on my dreams full time. I'm going to be honest here, I absolutely don't earn any money yet because of all the costs that come with having a business. But yeah, because of your support, I also don't lose a lot of money, so I can balance it a bit. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. And I'm very fortunate that Michael, my boyfriend, is so supportive and helpful, and that he is kind of taking care of me at the moment. Because all the income we need to live from comes from his job. Of course, you ask, isn't it crazy to start a full-time from the start? And why didn't you just start as a part-time job or so? Well, I thought about it a lot, but because of some past healthy issues, we decided that I would go full-time. And I want to explain this more in depth in another video, but yeah, Michael is such an angel, and if it wasn't for him, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done this. So yeah, I'm really grateful and thankful that I have him and that he's so supportive. I'm really lucky that I can do this and that it's growing every month, but something is bothering me lately, and that is my social media accounts, you guys. I've been thinking a lot about what to do with it, because I personally think it's a bit all over the place. I originally made them for my SoPixel website and to market the products that are on there, but because the true meaning of SoPixel was for it to be a more illustrated store and not a personalized store, I started making arty products first, but it very soon changed so much to a more personalized and text-based design store. Yeah, I still post a lot of arty things because it's my passion and I still dream about a real art shop. But I think everything is getting a bit too messy on one platform. I've been thinking a lot about how to fix this, and I think I have the right solution. So I thought I'd talk about it a bit before I change it. So yeah, want to know what you guys think about it, so here are my thoughts. I have a lot of artist followers on my Instagram account, and I really don't want to lose you guys. You're so dear to me. So I was thinking of changing the name SoPixel Illustrations to my name, Marieke Martens, and that it will only be used for art, illustrations, and a bit of cuteness of Yuki, of course. Uh, I'll start a new Instagram account just for the Pixel, and it will be a lot more specific about my store and the products that are in there. So yeah, it also wouldn't be called So Pixel Illustrations anymore, because it doesn't fit anymore then. So I have to change it to a more suitable name. Facebook was very easy because a lot of my customers from the Pixel are on there. So I'm just gonna leave it how it is, but I won't post any art on there anymore. If you Facebook fans are interested in that, in the more arty things, there will be Marieke Martens Facebook later this year, where I will post my art and illustrations. I've also decided that Twitter and Pinterest are not my cup of tea and that I will probably shut them down. Then YouTube. That's the hardest one for me. I don't know if I should change the name to Marieke Martens or not. And if so, Pixel will have one too. Lately, I was thinking about calling it Marieke Martens and show on my ZoPixel website and social media that I have a YouTube account, but that it's still called my name, because there is more personal work on there. And I hope to make more art videos and inspiring things for you guys in the future on this YouTube channel. Okay, so that was probably a lot of information, but yeah, that is what's in my mind a lot lately. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear it. Yeah, your voice matters a lot to me. So now that I'm done with painting, I'd love to do the last details in colored pencils. So I'm going to peel off my tape because I know everything around it is completely dry now. And yeah, so I can see much better what the finished piece is going to look like while I'm finishing it off with regular colored pencils. While the paint is drying, I quickly want to show you the paper that I'm working with. So it's a Canson cold press watercolor block that is acid free. Cold press paper has a lot more texture in the paper than in comparison with hot press paper that is way smoother watercolor paper. Yeah, this block has papers that are glued together, so the paper stays flat better while it's soaking up the water. When the piece is finished, you can easily peel the paper off because they left a little corner unglued for you to pull the paper off the block. So yeah, I really recommend this paper. I've been struggling with a lot of papers and found out that this was the right and affordable suit for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this paper. Okay, so let's pick those colored pencils now. First, I take a tiny piece of paper to test the colors on. Again, I pick some purples, yellows, reds, browns and greens. I try them out to see which color fits best with the paint colors. It's easy when you have a bit of paint of the color on a paper aside to test the pencils over the paper. Yeah, it's the easiest way to see if they are the right fit. I do this again for every color until I'm sure I have the ones that I like the most. And then I start putting my colored pencil layer on top of my illustration. So here's another business topic. I'm also working on evolving the website experience of soopixel.com, and that is going to happen in a week or two already. We're going to change it to another platform that has more to offer for us, and we can save half the money we have to pay on the other platform. So we can use it to invest in more things that can help the business grow. So yeah, that's a really great thing. And here is some very exclusive news. So Pixel is going through some rebranding to give it more of a designer's feel and give it more character and the typical Marieke Martens feeling. I also plan to start a second store with the same feeling, because I really plan on making an art store / portfolio website with the same branding. Yeah, I want it to be a bit connected with each other in a way so people know it's a Marieke Martens thing. I know my name is hard to pronounce in different countries, and I doubted a lot about my name, but the reason why I still want to use it is because I really want people to know who I am. Yeah, because another dream I have is to be some sort of motivational speaker and to inspire others in making their dream reality. So that's why I think it's so important that people know my name, because I want to inspire them. And yeah. I'm a strong believer that if you just keep believing, with a little bit of help and hard work, of course, you can do anything. And I hope I can inspire you and that you have the best life you could ever dream of. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this draw with me. Dream big. Lots of love from me and Yuki. Bye!